On one side stood Wang Tiangu and three nascent soul cultivators. On the other was Marquis Nanlong. Yet Han Li had no intention of choosing either faction. From the very beginning, his only plan had been to escape. Without hesitation, Han Li decided to sow chaos before fleeing. With a casual wave of his hand, a colossal black mountain materialized out of thin air, instantly splitting the battlefield and scattering everyone. Seizing the opportunity, Han Li activated the Wind and Thunder Wings and shot straight toward the cultivator, surnamed Yu. In a single exchange, the man was completely annihilated under the terrifying might of the celestial ice flames. At the same time, Han Li caught sight of Wang Chan and immediately unleashed the Yin Devil Execution. Though Wang Chan did not die, both of his legs were severed. Han Li had no intention of lingering. He feared that Wang Tiangu would soon arrive. Meanwhile, Marquis Nanlong's eyes lit up as his body transformed into a blinding streak of golden light, charging straight toward the old woman. Startled, her body flashed with yellow radiance as she hastily summoned a small yellow shield. Gold and yellow light collided violently, intertwining for a brief instant before the golden light completely engulfed her. Seeing this, the others reacted at once, unleashing their attacks in a desperate attempt to restrain Marquis Nanlong. Yet through some unknown secret art, the golden radiance around his body grew ever denser. At the same time, he released several powerful ancient treasures into the fray. Not only was he unhindered, he appeared to hold the upper hand amidst the chaos. The others were fully occupied and could spare no attention for Han Li. His figure reappeared at the exit of the building in a blur, flying straight toward the hall's entrance. Along the way, a streak of white light shot from a corner of the hall and slipped into his sleeve. It was a small white fox. Master Albert Silvermoon spoke excitedly. Han Li flew out of the hall without slowing, interrupting her coldly. Now is not the time. We'll talk once we're out of danger. When Han Li broke through the wondrous soul restriction earlier, he had deliberately used a burst of dazzling light to conceal a temporary opening he created. In that fleeting moment, he sent Silvermoon through. Afterward, he deliberately delayed while dismantling the formation. That was the true reason Han Li had gone to such lengths to breach the wondrous soul restriction, not merely for priority in selecting treasures. Judging from Silvermoon's excitement, she had clearly gained considerable benefits from the pavilion. Having seized his prize, rejected Marquis Nanlong's proposal, and set the battlefield into chaos, Han Li chose only one thing: his own escape. The instant Han Li shot through the entrance of the hall, an earth-shaking rumble erupted behind him. Alarmed, he immediately turned his head. The Jade-Appear Pavilion had split apart, revealing a blazing golden sun nearly 3 meters wide. It burst forth from the rubble, carrying within it a faint silhouette. Clearly, Marquis Nanlong had unleashed some sort of forbidden secret technique. Han Li's heart trembled at the sight. The Jade-Appear Pavilion was no ordinary structure. Even he doubted his ability to breach its walls. Yet Marquis Nanlong had reduced it to ruins with a single strike. The true might of a nascent soul cultivator was indeed no trifling matter. Suppressing his shock, Han Li flew toward the center of the hall and glanced at the restored walls surrounding him. Without hesitation, he flicked his finger. A meter-long streak of sword light shot forward and struck the opposite wall. A rough hole was carved into the surface, only to vanish in a flash of white light, leaving no trace behind. Han Li frowned. Just as he was considering another approach, his expression abruptly changed. In a blur, he spun around. Marquis Nanlong stood roughly 10 meters behind him. His body blazed with dazzling golden light, yet his complexion was deathly pale. Han Li's gaze passed over him toward the pavilion. A massive dome of golden light now enveloped the structure. Flashes of black and white light flickered within, accompanied by muffled explosions. A trace of astonishment surfaced on Han Li's face. Using some heaven-defying method, Marquis Nanlong had temporarily trapped the others inside, buying himself precious time to escape. The outer restrictions must be opened using the formation flag, Marquis Nanlong said quickly. I only possess one, so it will take some time. I'll have to trouble fellow Taoist Han to delay them. Though my ancient treasure is powerful, I don't know how long it will hold. They may break free at any moment. Forcing a strained smile, he flipped his hand, revealing a small, fluttering yellow flag. Without hesitation, he began chanting incantations, showing not the slightest fear of Han Li turning on him. Han Li's eyes flickered. He slapped his storage pouch, producing an emerald green formation plate, the very magic tool he had used to breach the wondrous soul restriction. He swiftly traced several Ejur talisman characters into the air and blew them onto the plate. It immediately shone with brilliant blue light. Forming hand seals, Han Li spoke softly, "Rise," except for the side facing Marquis Nanlong. The surrounding walls transformed back into blue crystal, sealing the hall once more. Marquis Nanlong paused, then exclaimed in delight, You can control the wondrous soul formation. Hanli showed no trace of pride. I can barely wield even a tenth of its original power. It won't hold them for long. Brother Nanlong should open the path before they break through. Hearing this, Marquis Nanlong noticed that the crystal walls were far dimmer than before. The joy drained from his face. He tossed the yellow flag forward, where it vanished into the wall in a streak of light and continued chanting. At that moment, thunderous rumbles echoed from behind them. The crystal walls began to sparkle violently as explosions rang out. Clearly the others had already broken through the Marquis' ancient treasure and begun their assault. Hanli glanced at the stone wall faintly glowing with white light, then back at the trembling crystal barriers. After a brief hesitation, he tossed a spirit beast pouch into the air. A swarm of black-flecked gold-devouring beetles surged forth. With a quick incantation, they swarmed around Hanli and fused together, forming tricolored insect armor. An odd look flickered across Marquis Nanlong's face at the sight of the insect armor technique. But given the urgency of their escape, he said nothing. Moments later, the crystal walls shook violently, teetering on the verge of collapse. Simultaneously, the stone wall split apart amid white radiance, revealing the stairway beyond. Seeing this, Marquis Nanlong's body flared with golden light as he shot forward. Behind him, Hanli's thunderstorm wings crackled with lightning, and he vanished. In the next instant, Hanli reappeared at the stairway's exit. While Marquis Nanlong hovered midair behind him, a violent explosion echoed from below. Alarmed Hanli flapped his wings again and instantly shot out of the passage, pushing his lightning movement to its limit as he fled into the distance. After Hanli had traveled more than a kilometer, a piercing cry rang out behind him. A blazing sphere of golden light streaked across the sky. The Marquis circled once before, declaring in a frigid, venomous voice, "Remember this well. If you ever fall into my hands, I will annihilate both your body and soul." As his words faded, the golden radiance grew thin and indistinct. Just as a streak of silver light burst from the mountain entrance, the golden glow flickered several times before tearing through the heavens, at terrifying speed, vanishing within a single breath. By then, Hanli was already little more than a flickering dot on the horizon. Trailing the silver light, a streak of black radiance slowed to reveal Wang Tiangu. With a grave expression, he asked, "What movement techniques are they using to travel so fast?" The silver light faded, revealing the white-clothed old man. He replied grimly, "Marquis Nanlong is using Mile Shed Line, a secret technique personally created by Master Tsang Kun. By burning vast amounts of vitality and blood essence, one can traverse distance as thin as a thread of light, completely concealing their aura. Though he hasn't gone far, he can't be tracked with spiritual sense. As for that brat Han, he's manipulating lightning through those strange wings. It must be the legendary instant lightning movement." At that moment, the old woman and the tan-skinned cultivator emerged, from the passage having overheard everything. Pale and uneasy, the old woman asked, "With such incredible movement techniques, they'll surely escape. What should we do?" The tan cultivator looked thoroughly shaken. "That youngster Han is insignificant, but if Marquis Nanlong escapes, it'll spell disaster. Fellow Taoists, Wang and Yun, we only dared move against him because of you." The white-clothed old man let out a cold chuckle. "Put your minds at ease. After the beating he took, what do you think his true cultivation is now? Forcing magic power from an injured body to use Mile Shed Line, he's already crippled himself. Even if he spent the next 100 years recuperating, he wouldn't be able to maintain his mid-nascent soul cultivation. And besides, when did I ever say I lacked a way to track him?" The tan man's eyes lit up. "Brother Yun means—" The old man nodded calmly. "Since I intended to kill him, I naturally prepared in advance. As long as he cannot travel more than 150 kilometers in a single stretch, I can find him. In his current state, he won't sustain Mile Shed Line for long. When it ends, we'll hunt him down and finish him." The old woman relaxed and sighed in relief. "That's reassuring. If not for the Black Jade Lotus fellow Taoist Wang gave me and the promise of sharing Devilfall Valley's secrets, I would never have taken such a risk. Making an enemy of a mid-nascent soul cultivator is no trivial matter." The tan cultivator nodded, then said with mixed emotions, "We've gone to great lengths for Devilfall Valley's secrets, but I never expected fellow Taoist Yun to be an elder of the Ghost Spirit sect. Are the 6 Devil Tao sects truly hiding so many figures like this?" The white-clothed old man shook his head calmly. "Though I originated from the Ghost Spirit sect in my youth, I rarely involve myself in its affairs. Very few know my true identity. I never intended to deceive anyone. To be honest, Marquis Nanlong was a descendant of Master Tsang Kun and a close friend of mine for many years. I never wished to kill him, but he secretly aligned himself with the elders of the righteous Doao Heaven Peak sect and sought to join them. I tried to dissuade him, but he refused. Worse, he intended to use their backing to enter Devilfall Valley. I could not stand by and allow the righteous Tao to grow stronger. I had no choice. With a hint of surprise, the old woman asked, Marquis Nanlong has ties with the Heaven Peak sect. Fellow Taoist Yun, you never mentioned this before. Meanwhile, the tan-skinned cultivator's expression darkened with fury. The white-clothed old man, surnamed Yun, smiled faintly and replied calmly, I never mentioned it. You simply failed to notice. In any case, Marquis Nanlong hasn't formally entered the Heaven Peak sect yet. If you are truly worried, you may join my sect and become elders. That way the Heaven Peak sect wouldn't dare touch you. The old woman let out a cold snort. At my age, I have no interest in subjecting myself to further constraints. The tan cultivator frowned and said indifferently, I am accustomed to freedom and have no intention of joining any sect either. What a pity, old man Yun replied, without the slightest displeasure, smoothly changing the topic. If the two of you were to join the Ghost Spirit sect, our prestige would surely soar. Still, I won't insist. As long as Marquis Nanlong is killed here, the Heaven Peak sect won't trouble itself over a dead man. It's merely unfortunate that, despite being friends for over 100 years, he never told me of his true intentions regarding Devilfall Valley. I only knew there was a hidden cave residence here, along with a map of Devilfall Valley left behind by Master Kang Kun. Therefore, once we capture him, we won't immediately destroy his nascent soul. I'll first use a soul scouring technique to extract whatever useful information he possesses. Wang Tianga asked worriedly, but if the map happens to be inside the jade box that youngster Han escaped with, wouldn't we be helpless? Old man Yun replied unhurriedly, that can still be dealt with. If it comes to that, we'll leak this information to every major sect in Heavenly South. When the time comes, even the Heavenly Tao Alliance will be forced to intervene, let alone the righteous and devilish Tao. Chaos will give us opportunities to profit. Let's see how a minor sect like the Drifting Cloud sect handles the collective greed of the cultivation world. Moreover, aside from the map, I am also interested in any information Marquis Nanlong possesses about Devilfall Valley. Even if the method of entry becomes public knowledge, having that information will put us a step ahead. After some thought, Wang Tiangu suggested, if it truly comes to that, it may be our only option. But before resorting to such measures, we could attempt to trade for the map. No matter how deep his resentment toward us, there are few things in this world that can't be exchanged. Haha, Junior Marshal brother, Wang's proposal is indeed superior to mine. Old man Yun chuckled. He then sighed softly and muttered, still, that youngster's abilities are truly baffling. Is he really around the same age as Junior Marshal nephew Wang from that last battle? His cunning surpassed even ours, and he even defeated fellow Taoist Long. If I were to face him alone, I too doubt my ability to prevail. Wang Tiangu's eyes flickered as a trace of vexation crossed his face. I questioned Wang Chan about him before. He appeared to be nothing more than an ordinary Yellow Maple Valley cultivator, merely at the Foundation establishment stage back then. His current level of cultivation and combat prowess are a complete mystery. Had it not been for his interference, we would have already dealt with Marquis Nanlong. Hearing this, the others could only offer bitter smiles. Wang Tiangu then said, that aside, we should return first and free fellow Taoist Long. With his cultivation, he should survive being frozen. I'm also concerned about my nephew. Before that, youngster Han departed. He unleashed a blood-red attack resembling the devil blood cleave that I personally cultivate. I don't know how well Channer endured it. Old man Yun nodded. Very well, since we have no way of detecting them for now. Let's inspect the situation here. We'll resume the pursuit once Marquis Nanlong can no longer sustain the Miles Shed line. With that, the group flew back toward the mountain. They soon arrived at the ruins of the Jadapir Pavilion. Yan Ruyan was crouched beside Wang Chan, who lay motionless on the ground, her expression dazed. Seeing this, Wang Tiangu asked coldly, what happened? Were any of Channer's vital points struck? Even now his composure remained unwavering. Yan Ruyan hesitated, her face tinged with anxiety. No, but his legs. Wang Tiangu stepped forward, his brows knitting tightly. Both of Wang Chan's legs were missing below the knees, yet not a single drop of blood had been spilled. Yan Ruyan said helplessly, Lord Husband and I joined hands to cast the blood spirit art, but we were instantly struck by some strange technique. The blood mist couldn't block it, and my lord was too slow to evade. His legs were taken. Wang Tiangu asked grimly, then why haven't you used restoration techniques? You should know such methods. With a tense expression, Yan Ruyan replied softly, I've tried several times, but the techniques don't respond at all. Although there's no bleeding, a black chi has condensed around the wounds. It can't be expelled. That may be why the healing failed and why he's unconscious. Wang Tiangu's expression eased slightly. This was no ordinary attack. Let me see. Focusing on the wounds, he saw the black qi swirling faintly around them. Raising his hand, his fingers flickered with black light as he extracted a strand of the qi, compressing it into a pea-sized black orb. He originally intended to destroy it with true fire, but after a moment's thought, he sealed it with spiritual power and stored it in a jade bottle. It was clear he intended to study it further to better understand Han Li's techniques. Seeing Wang Tiangu ignore her afterward, a complicated look briefly crossed Yan Ruyan's face before vanishing. Once the black qi on the second leg was removed, Yan Ruyan silently attempted restoration again. Wang Tiangu nodded in satisfaction and turned toward the others. The white-clothed old man and the rest stood silently. Before the ice-encased body of the stern-faced cultivator, their expressions grim. Wang Tiangu approached and asked in confusion, "What's wrong? Are you fellow Taoists unable to free him?" Fear flickered across the old woman's face. She muttered, "Free him? How this ice is far more sinister than we imagined." Old man Yun remained silent, his face dark. "What do you mean by that?" Wang Tiangu asked, turning his gaze to the frozen body. "Brother Wang, take a closer look," the tan cultivator said. He raised his hand and hurled a fist-sized chunk of jade at the ice. Blue light flashed. The jade was instantly encased in blue ice and shattered into glittering dust. Standing 3 meters away, the tan cultivator pointed a finger. Scorching white true fire shot out, but the instant it touched the blue ice, it vanished as though absorbed. Wang Tiangu felt a chill run down his spine. Old man Yun sighed. This blue ice is truly vicious. Fellow Taoist Long's body has long since perished. We can only have his nascent soul emerge and find him a new vessel. Didn't he possess another body before? The tan cultivator replied darkly, "No, this was his original body." Old man Yun nodded. "That's fortunate. Then we only need his nascent soul to manifest." As if responding to those words, the frozen body suddenly glowed with white light. With a dull bang, it crumbled into ash. Left behind within the blue ice was an inch-tall nascent soul. Clutching a thumb-sized jade ornament, its face twisted with resentment. It opened its tiny mouth and spewed fiery red nascent flames onto the ornament. Raising it above its head, red-white flames engulfed its body as it charged forward. "Wait," Old Man Yun exclaimed suddenly, realizing something was wrong, but it was too late. The nascent soul passed through the ice. What followed made everyone's blood run cold. The red-white flames were ignited by the blue ice, instantly engulfing both the flames and the nascent soul in azure fire. The red-white flames vanished in an instant, replaced by a shrill, agonized scream. The nascent soul thrashed wildly, fleeing through the air. After flying barely 50 meters, it rolled and writhed, desperately trying to extinguish the flames. Moments later, the screams abruptly ceased. The nascent soul was refined into a fading ball of light and vanished entirely. The cultivator surnamed Long was dead, body and soul erased.